Well, hello there and welcome. You are listening to the Kindness Matters podcast, and I am your host, Mike Rathbun. What is this podcast all about? It's about kindness. It's a pushback against everything negative that we see in the news and on social media today, and it's a way to highlight people, organizations that are simply striving to make their little corner of the world a little better place. If you want to join in on the conversation, feel free. Go ahead and follow us on all of your social media feeds. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We're even on LinkedIn under Mike Rathbun. Check us out. And in the meantime, so sit back, relax, enjoy, and we'll get into the Kindness Matters podcast. Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. Fantastic having you here. Thank you so much for joining, for spending 30 minutes of your time listening to me and my guest today. I do really appreciate it. And you know what I'd appreciate even more? If you could tell your friends, family, co-workers, strangers on the street, and maybe the deli guy at the grocery store about the Kindness Matters podcast. It would be very much appreciated. But I'm happy that you're here, and that's the important thing. I have a fantastic show for you today. My guest today is Steve Landau, and he is the president of a nonprofit organization called Cars for Neighbors, and it's located in Anoka County, Minnesota. And this is something that, you know, when we think of nonprofit organizations, we think of food shelves, we think of homeless shelters, we think of, mentorship for kids and that kind of thing. We very rarely ever think about transportation, right? And so I thought it was important to share Steve with you all. I can't hog him all to myself as much as I might like to. So welcome to the show, Steve. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Mike. It's a pleasure.
The pleasure is all mine. Let's talk about this because, we've all heard about food insecurity or health insecurity, where folks just don't know when or if they're going to be able to access either of those two things before. But until today, I had never heard of the term transportation insecurity. And really, that's what you guys do, isn't it?
Yeah. It's the causes that you mentioned, right? They are basic needs that everybody thinks of top of mind, right? Food,
right,
shelter. But transportation is one of those dominoes that oftentimes causes the others to be a need. I'm excited to talk transportation today, but more so, I get to volunteer with Cars for Neighbors, and I have the pleasure of chairing and being the volunteer president of this organization. But the thing that drew me to the organization, and when you talk transportation, the organization is Cars for Neighbors, and specifically we repair cars for neighbors. And in my mind, the piece that people focus on oftentimes is the car piece, which is the practical need. But the thing that drew me in was the practical need of our neighbors when it comes to what is, when I say the domino that might cause the others, I think of for myself, even I'm at different stages of life where resources may or may not have been available for the things I want to have. It was at times it's the things that we need, right? And when you think about the unexpected scenarios that come up most commonly in any of our lives, that can throw our finances into a loop, that can put us into debt, and then cause other things to need to be put on a credit card, or we need to borrow money for health expenses, car repairs. Those are in my mind, and not just in my mind, studies show those are the top
Yeah.
two pieces that people, no matter how prepared they might think they are for the next stage, those are the major expenses that aren't often planned for, or aren't planned for to the extent that they might affect somebody's life. So, Cars for Neighbors, yeah, we help step in to help people with car repair needs that have either fallen into a crisis of a few other dominoes that have happened in their lives, or they're just getting going on on reinventing what life can look like, and have gotten a new job and are back on their feet again. And then they now need that car to get to work, but there's a clunking that starts to happen. And if they ignore it, it turns into a screech, which turns into thousands of dollars that they don't quite have yet. And they may not
Yeah.
have the the network that is going to come in and help support them. So we get to be that that friend or that family member that they may not have, to come in and help with the one time, like, let's get you back on your feet again before it spirals into something else.
Yeah, for sure. And you were talking about dominoes, and I, oftentimes when we talk about, like, I've spoken to directors of food shelves, and they talk about how, these people were fine. They didn't need a food shelf. They could go buy groceries and what have you. And then they had that one thing, and it was generally, people talk about medical expenses, right? You have a huge medical bill that you didn't see coming, and that caused you to be food insecure because you have X number of resources during the month, and this big bill just dropped. But car repair, especially these days, because car repairs are getting more and more expensive, are they not?
Yeah. Yes, they
Yeah.
are. Yeah.
So, and even though we don't necessarily think about it, that could absolutely be the case. Um, and I mean, I've got friends. If I needed a brake job, for example, I know somebody I could call to help me with that. But oftentimes, people don't necessarily either lack that network that you were talking about, and then they don't know you guys exist.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you talk about expenses going up, I saw there was a study done about 5 years ago or so, and it conveyed that 40%, it was over 40% of people at some point in their life have gone into debt because of car repair. So you talk about the relatability of, like, this is not something that just affects
Right.
a small percentage of the community. It affects a, a large portion of people at different stages of life, depending on different circumstances and depending on the dominoes that we referenced that fall. But it was interesting to also see that it was something along the lines of a third of people at any point would not be able to pay for more than a $500 car repair without going into debt or without it sacrificing other basic needs at the
Right.
time. And so this was 5 years ago. Most of the car repairs that we see coming into the shops that we partner with are minimum $1,000 to take care of a basic need to keep the car on the road. And so
That's crazy.
yeah, and oftentimes it ends up being $1,500. That's kind of the cap that we end up putting toward the car repairs to help keep the car back on the road. But yeah, it has grown exponentially over the past few years, and so income levels have started to rise with that, but not to the same extent that the cost has risen. So we're seeing the
Right.
need continue to be there, and it's through gracious donors that
Yeah.
power this.
Oh.
So
Oh, for sure. And I saw a stat. since you were talking stats, 16%, and this is okay, and this is 2022, so this is 3 years ago. 16% of adults earning less than the federal poverty level lacked reliable transportation in the last 12 months,
Mm-hmm.
compared with just 2.9% of adults who earned at least 400 times the federal poverty level. I knew I was going to mess it up. Federal poverty level. And that just blows me away.
Yeah.
And because it's one thing if you live in an urban area, right? Like Minneapolis, let's say, or St. Paul.
Yeah.
Because if your car breaks down, odds are pretty good you can find a bus or a train to get you to where you need to be, doctor's appointment, grocery store. But now, and we're in Ham Lake, we're in Anoka County, and it's, what are we, third ring suburb?
I'll say third ring. Yeah,
I don't know.
It's to
I
where
don't
we're counting more than one or two rings for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Right, yeah. And there really is not a lot of mass transportation out here
Yeah.
in this area. So I think it becomes even more critical at that stage for areas like ours. And I have no idea what happens, out in a really rural area where you have to travel, 50, 60 miles to get to a store.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I heard a noise. I apologize.
Fine.
So, and I have absolutely no idea where I was going with that, Steve.
Well, I will say, yeah, so because that's kind of, if you're going to hear something in response, well, what about public transportation? Well, like you said, if you're far enough out and removed, this was a need that fortunately people that came before me, they saw this need. This organization has been in existence for 25 years, and
That's right.
yeah, and originally,
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you. But like I said, that's a credit to people. I've been involved with this organization for about 5 years, so 20 years prior to my being here, and now working alongside of other great volunteers and staff. This small nonprofit has continued to see the need, and when they started it, it was a group of local community members and churches that said, how can we help people? The original name was Free to Be. How can we help people be free to be in order to live their life to the fullest? And then realized through renditions of the organization that the biggest impact that was being made was through repairing people's cars. That was the one piece that was the most impactful that they could make a difference with. And it has continued from volunteer mechanics early on to now partnering with a primary shop that it offers really reliable car repair services at a discounted rate for us. So we were able to stretch the dollars further, and we're able to vet the need of people coming in. So if people want to help with that sort of domino, as we've described it here in this conversation, the biggest question that we come across when people donate to any, and I've been working with other nonprofits throughout the years, and the question that comes back from people who donate is, how can you ensure that these dollars go to somebody who actually needs them? Well, for one, if that's the question that you're asking, personally, I feel like, okay, if you're giving and you're hoping that it makes a difference, you can't control all the variables on the back end. But I'll say that when you're working with an organization that at least is looking at tax return documents to see where they fall within the guidelines of very low to low poverty levels, and those are the groups that are being served through an organization, and they're going to go toward a very specific piece that is going to help in most any circumstance keep people be self-sustainable, keep people working, keep people in jobs, and keep them getting to their medical appointments, shuffling their kids to and from school. you get that sort of assurance when you work with an organization such as a Cars for Neighbors or whatever your local nonprofit is in your area that is helping in a very specific way for a very specific need. So
Yeah. Now? Walk me through the application process. Somebody they've got a car repair they need, and they find out about you guys. What goes into getting them the help that they need?
yeah, it's a pretty straightforward application, and it has some basic questions about uh, really some demographic information because we do rely on some grants that we have to report back to when it comes to that. But
Of course.
ultimately, we're looking at what are your what sort of income are you claiming against what our criteria is, and then we ask a basic question of how is this car repair going to help you. And for a lot of this, it is just affirmation of hearing the stories of what comes out of this. So in some cases, it's going to help me. We've literally had the comment put down of I just got a new job and I cannot afford to lose this job, and my car is the only way that will get me there. Please help. In other
Yeah.
cases, it's I have medical appointments that I have to get to. I'm on a fixed income and I don't have the resources to repair my car right now, but I have these unexpected bills that have come up. And it just humanizes something that is a very, oftentimes when you talk about the mission of car repair, it can sound very transactional when you talk
Yeah.
about car repair. Like, to say, oh, we replaced this many tires this month in Minnesota going into winter for people that weren't going to have fresh tires on their car. It doesn't have the same impact as hearing the story of
Right.
who is this. These are real people with real needs and oftentimes real circumstances that are outside of their own control that we're helping step in for. And through that whole thing that I just said, I actually forgot what your initial question was, so I hope that I answered it in that process.
It works for me.
Okay.
Actually, I was gonna ask you if you had any testimonials or real life examples of how this has helped some people. Do you
Yeah.
have any favorites?
Um, I actually keep a little log on my phone of a few
Funny you
of them.
should
So
mention that.
give me a second here. Let me see if I can get them
Now, do
relatively
you
quick.
guys still do? I know at one time you did like weekend car clinics where people would get together and just do basic maintenance on the cars, or maybe you don't do that anymore.
We don't do that anymore. We actually had I came on during well
COVID.
the pandemic time onto this board, so there were a lot of limitations at that point.
Yeah,
But I will say we're a small, nimble organization that's open to opportunities as they come up. So if we have volunteers, once again, who are skilled in that area and want to get involved in this community, please reach out because, like I said, we are open to putting passionate people where they can use their skills. So if I'm somebody
absolutely.
who can't turn a wrench, I can I can
Right
see
there with you.
the lights light up on my dashboard, but I am not going to be the person that's out there working on a car, and nobody wants me to be doing that for them. But if you have that skill set, please, please, please reach out, and we'd love to
I'm
see how we
pretty
can.
sure the term idiot light was invented for me,
That's
after me, or something like that.
that's a good term. Um, I did find so I do have stories off the top of my head that I could reference, but I like to quote
Sure.
firsthand responses since we collect that information. Um, and one of these quotes that I saw that had come through from one of the people that we have served is this, and I think it matches up really well with what the name of this podcast is. So, kindness matters. Uh, this person said, "Love, grace, mercy, compassion, charity, and caring. Those are very valuable qualities. I have experienced those things from Cars for Neighbors. Thank you so much for helping me with my car repairs in a crisis in my life. It means so much to be able to have a dependable and reliable car. What you do makes a world of difference."
Wow.
And
That's so cool.
right, so, I would love to have like this is a billboard in itself for
Right?
the outcome that you hope to have come through any nonprofit serving basic needs. But again, when we talk car repair, we don't necessarily think the words love, grace, mercy, compassion, charity, and
Nope.
caring. But the car repair is the means to be able to live those pieces out. And we happen to
Absolutely.
be positioned to be a conduit for people who want to make a difference for other people in their community, but they might not have the person come up to them personally and say, I'm in need of a car repair and I need some help. That's not going to be a common everyday occurrence that happens in our lives. But guess what? There's a path that people can go to, and it's as simple as going online, fill out a quick application, send it in to us, and we take it from there and help the
Yeah.
person that's right in front of us.
Yeah, for sure. I have actually, my wife and I have a home cleaning business. That's my paying job. This is my fun job. Um, and we had employees at one time, and we had one person, and she had two kids, single mom, and her van was constantly overheating. And I'm like, oh, I'm useless to you. I wish I could help you. I wish I knew what to do. I have absolutely no idea. She didn't have extra money laying around to go get it fixed. I said, call Cars for Neighbors. I mean, you guys really need to be, I don't know, you don't advertise or anything, do you? Do you have fundraisers?
We do. We do have fundraisers. We have in the fall we have our largest fundraiser, which is called Casino Night. So it is funny money games that we are playing as a community, and all the proceeds go to Cars for Neighbors and car repair. And we actually just partnered. We have some businesses and corporations that will put on events on behalf of Cars for Neighbors. So we have a few of
Oh,
those that take place throughout the year, and those tend to rotate a little bit more because we have different businesses that want to be more involved in the community. So it's great to see local commerce step up and say, we want to pull people together as well in our networks and connect them
yeah.
to the cause. But yeah, outside of that, we're fortunate to have a local billboard company donate a billboard and promotional spot to Cars for Neighbors, along with some other nonprofits here in the area. So we've had a
Nice.
prominent spot on a local highway recently to help people know that they can donate cars to Cars for Neighbors, and we will turn that into car repairs for others as well. So
I haven't seen it yet. Is it out on 65?
yeah, yeah. Wait, no, actually, just a little further down on 10. And I'm not sure which one of those billboards it is,
Okay.
but there's a series of electronic billboards
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
that are
Nice.
there. So
Nice. And because I think, and I don't know, and you've been involved in nonprofits for quite a while, for what, most of your working life, haven't you?
yeah, yep, yep.
What is it about people who get involved in nonprofits and they just keep staying with them? It must be just is it a call to serve?
You know, I'll tell you my path because my path might be different than others, but
Sure.
I'm guessing that there are pieces that line up with others. So I started uh, as I was a physiology and exercise science major out of college, which makes perfect sense to go into the nonprofit world, right? I mean, it's just a no
Oh,
brainer. No, not at all.
okay.
So I
Oh, you were being sarcastic. I get it.
yeah, sorry, I'll
Kind of went over my head.
yeah, you can cut that out if you no.
Ah, we'll leave it.
All right. So I started personal training for a group of small training studios, and my goal was that I was going to come out intrinsically. I knew I wanted to help people, and I wanted to help people with healthy habits and to live better lives, and it was really fulfilling in that regard.
Yeah.
But I then learned about as I was looking at what the next opportunity was going to be. I learned that hey, I could do this same thing working with potentially a different demographic of people that might not be able to afford my services and have funds go toward other programs, I partnered up with the YMCA. I started working with the Y. Was my
Okay.
first nonprofit work experience, and uh, really, like I said, it was the opportunity to use my skill set that I had gone and obtained a 4-year degree and was now using it. And now I could use that skill set that was not only going to help the person in front of me, but also was going to help with youth development opportunities. And it was going to help with homelessness prevention work that was being done through the Y. And it was going to help kids that couldn't afford swim lessons learn how to swim. And I thought, what a better way to use your skills than to help others beyond what I'm able to do by myself.
Yeah.
So when it came to working with nonprofits, I ended up with the Y for over a decade and served in different capacities that took me into more organizational leadership type of roles and partnering with other nonprofits. And that's actually how I got connected with Cars for Neighbors. Was I was working in the same community as Cars for Neighbors, and we were at the time I mentioned I started with Cars for Neighbors during COVID. Well, at
Yeah.
the time with the Y, we had transitioned into serving food for people that were out of jobs and were in need of assistance. And they were driving up to the Y for food distribution. And the
Yeah.
executive director, who I knew from Cars for Neighbors, said, "Hey, while these people are driving up, you mind if we put a sign out here that says if you're in need of car repair or you know somebody in need, reach out. Cars for Neighbors can help." And I said, "This is a no-brainer." And I learned more about the organization, and
Yeah.
it helped keep me connected to the nonprofit world, even after professionally I'm not any longer with the Y, but I still find
Yeah.
my
Those
outlet
connections.
to stay connected to. In the easiest way to say it is, I continue to try to find ways to use my skill set to impact others in a much bigger way than I could do by myself. So once again,
Sure.
I can't turn a wrench, but people that Cars for Neighbors work with, they can, and I know what the need is like. And
Okay.
because I can't turn a wrench, I know what it's like also to have the lights come
You
up
can
and
put
say,
yourself in
I
the
have no
client's
idea what I'm
position.
going to do next, and I could use some assistance in the next steps. So
Yeah. And we were talking before the show, and you were talking about your time at the Y. I had no idea that the Y was involved. I mean, yes, as a child, I took swimming lessons
you know,
at the Y, I think. I don't know why. Well, I mean, I know why, obviously, but they didn't stick, by the way. I can't swim to this day. But that's neither here nor there. But dude, the homelessness thing, I had no idea you guys were that the Y was involved in that.
yeah,
They
it's
do a lot of
kind of a hidden gem.
nonprofit stuff.
Yep, yep. So they have a whole unit that is the youth intervention team, and
Okay.
they serve. At the time, it was primarily out of an office in Northeast Minneapolis, and they would do street out street outreach services. They would work on job training skills and get kids connected to how do you set up a path to success, and a lot of times working in collaboration with social services and county resources to be able to say how can the Y help step in and fill in a gap. So again, passionate people saying,
Right.
how can I use my skill set in a way that may not be
Yeah.
the whole wraparound services that somebody needs to create a self-sustaining life, but if you can play just a role in it. There are a lot of people along the way that are also in that same mindset, and if we can all be working in that same direction, the world's going to be a better place.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I uh, I absolutely love this. I love. I'm losing my earphone. Whatever. I just because and the need for something like this, I think, is far greater than anybody really even knows. And I love that you guys are out there doing it. and that you're able to provide these services. And if I had a hat, it would be off to you guys for that. And you touched on it briefly, but congratulations, you guys are celebrating 25 years this year, right?
Yeah, yep, 25 years this fall.
Are you having a big gala?
We are having our signature Casino Night event.
Okay. Just a little bigger, a little better because of 25 years, or
just a little bigger and better because of 25 years. But it's still the same cause it's always been, and we're hoping to have more people rally around it this year.
That's fantastic. I will have your website URL, your link. Can't come up with words. In the show notes for anybody. If you want to donate, this would be a fantastic cause to donate to. I know we're all stretched thin these days. So if you live in the Ham Lake area of Minnesota and you're handy with cars and you don't have money to donate but you have time, certainly reach out to Steve and the folks over at Cars for Neighbors. Look, do we say the business you're partnering with? I know. Do we shout them out? I could maybe.
Oh, yeah. We service through Meineke Car Care in Ham Lake, and they've been exceptional partners for us.
Family-run business, right?
Family-run business, yeah. Yep, they've been great to work with, and they have a heart toward our mission, and that's the reason they partner with us. And like I said, if it wasn't for their partnership, we would not be able to stretch the dollars nearly as far as we're able to, because
right,
labor is a big expense when it comes to car care. So,
oh my gosh, yes, for sure, yeah, and I know them. We've as I mentioned, my wife and I have a cleaning business, and we have always taken our vehicles there for a service, and they are super fantastic and super amazing. They're fair, and if you don't need did I tell you that story? I took my car to someplace that was making a noise. The guy looked at it and he went, "Oh, you need this and this and this and this and this and this and this," and it's like $1,500, right, worth of stuff that I needed. I'm like, second opinion time. I don't know why I went to that place, but I took it to Meineke, and they're like, "You don't need any of that." Yeah. I think the biggest one was a water pump. Like, your water pump's going out. And I took it to Meineke, and they're like, "It's not." Yeah. And that made me a customer for life, right? Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, and that's a big part of it is knowing that who you're working with is ethical and is going to shoot straight with these are actual needs, right? And so they prioritize them for us and tell us these are the actual needs. These are the niceties further down the list, and we focus on the needs in particular. And it's been a great partnership for us.
Well, I'm probably going to tag them when I promo this show then.
Yep, that works.
Steve, thank you so much for taking the time today. I really appreciate you, and I appreciate your organization. You guys are doing such fantastic and needed work, and keep on doing what you're doing, man.
You as well, Mike. Appreciate you having me on.
Thanks. I appreciate it. We will talk again soon.
All right. Sounds great.
I want to thank you for taking this time to listen to this episode with my guest, Steve Landau from Cars for Neighbors. I hope that you're able to take something positive from the time that you spent with us today. Maybe you'll be inspired, maybe you'll be motivated, maybe you'll be moved. Maybe you'll start a car repair nonprofit. Whatever it is, if you've got any of those positive feelings, please share that with your family and friends. Let them know that there's a podcast out there that gives you goosebumps from time to time. I am always striving to offer you a better podcast, so give me some feedback, will you? Let me know how you think I'm doing. Email me, leave me a message. It would mean the world. Also, feel free to follow us on our social media pages like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok. This podcast is part of the Mayday Media Network. If you have an idea for a podcast and need some production assistance, or you already have a podcast and you're looking for a supportive network to join, check out MaydayMediaNetwork.com, and also make sure to check out the many different shows like Afrocentric, Spoil My Movie, Generation Mixtape, In a Pickle Radio Show, Wake Up and Dream with D. Anthony Palin, Stacks Opax, and The Time Pals. We'll be back again next week with a new episode, and we would be honored if you would join us. You've been listening to the Kindness Matters podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rathbun. Have a fantastic week.